ShinRobjira.
Movie Monster Series 1971 Hedora 2024 Color Renewal version, holy Christ, that was a lot of words, is going to be standing over 6 inches tall. Alright, let's check out the tag and see what we sees. So believe it or not, for the first time since Bandai went on their Movie Monster Series Hedora crusade, the tag is actually a wholly different image and not the same image flipped. Got a lovely image of Hedora peering down on all these hoes. Hedora, Godzilla 2024. I believe the back of the tag is exactly the same as the others, and it is. I don't believe much has changed on the inside of the tag, including that silhouette. And now to sleeve the tag and prepare for Takashi Yamazaki's hopeful Hedora in Godzilla Subtracts Again, the grand sequel to Godzilla -1. So I bet you're all wondering just what is so different about this figure versus the figure that came out in 2022, or was it 21? No, that was 22. Or was it? 22. Right off the bat, if you can't tell, the eyes are going to be different. The original having more golden eyes, the newer one having a lighter spray of gold eyes. They're almost copper looking, whereas here, they're just gold. The base vinyl on Color Renewal Hedora is actually going to be a bit brighter, while this is a bit more muted. And the same could be said for the silver paint adorning it. So right up front, do I think you need to get this if you have the original? No. If you want to get it, by all means, link in the comment section down below. Helps the channel out. Do I like this version more? Some aspects. Not all. Let's take a look. I definitely do prefer the brighter silver on Color Renewal Hedora. I feel it clashes with the darker shades of gray and the base vinyl for the figure overall. I also really do enjoy that the copper strewn about on Hedora's body is definitely a bit deeper than the original. The original being a bit brighter and a bit lighter in some areas. Here, everything kind of matches and it's much more eye-catching, I do think. From further away, it might not look like much has changed at all. And the same can essentially be said for both sides of Hedora's throat, head, face thing. On the newer version of Hedora, the yellows are a bit darker and a lot less lighter. Whereas on the original version of this mold, they're definitely more metallic looking. And on the back sack of both of these figures, I feel like the coloration alternation can definitely be seen a lot better. The copperish red is definitely a bit lighter in tone, and the yellow is a bit brighter and metallic, whereas on the new one, the copper is much brighter and metallic, while the yellow is a bit duller. And I feel the tail has a bit more presence of silver paint. Sure, it doesn't go all the way to the tip, but yeah, I don't know. The silver overall just feels like it's much more present. And to be completely honest, I really can't tell if the undersides of the arms have changed in any way, shape, or form, so yeah, there's that. Now, in some images, I've seen the newer Hedora possibly being shorter than the original, or the original being shorter than the new one, and sometimes, from some angles, this one appears to be taller than this one. And Hedora's got such an uneven head that it's hard to even tell. But from the side, they both mostly look the same, and I do mean mostly. The original had a lot more copper on the side of its back sack versus the newer one, and I guess we could pivot back to the eyes. I think I do prefer the more golden looking eyes. This one, I'm not going to say it's duller, but in comparison, the original version's eyes just pop so much more and it adds so much more character to the figure. Granted, neither eye is fully accurate to how Hedora's eyes looked in the movie, as Hedora's eyes looked like this in the movie, and that's yellow, and, you know, they're all, it looks like an eye. These, they're just circles, so if we're going to bitch and moan about screen accuracy and what the color is, I mean, we're gonna have to talk about that too, I guess. But since this figure kind of sold out, went on permanent back order, and really didn't come into stock all too often, I guess this was made solely just to satiate that. And instead of just releasing the entire same figure, Bandai decided to do something different. This offers up a very dangerous mindset for Movie Monster Series collectors such as myself, because they could re-release any figure that they've done in the past 10 years, new mold or not, and have it back on the market with all new colors, base vinyl, the whole 9 yards, and I don't want that to happen. Although, that powered down version of KOTM Goji would look pretty cool with the metallic blue on him, since it is a whole new color. Yeah, the left eye over here, it didn't get a full spritz, or they just overdid the black, and it does kind of fade in and out, but the other eye turned out a bit better. Yeah, I think I do prefer the golden eyes of the original, which is interesting because I prefer everything else on this version. This brighter gray that's less muted and almost comes off blue on camera. This shinier silver, which really pops under the right amount of lighting. And the shinier and more present copper over here, because it just works. The back sack overall as well, I think, just turned out a bit better. It's just from a profile shot. Yeah, y'all should have just continued. That is another thing I'll give the original. More paint. Although, this one looks like it was oversprayed. Turns out that I, ShinRobjira, like messy paint. I've been lying to all of you. Everything that I've ever bitched about involving messy paint, I actually loved. 10 out of 10, fool him again. We're still gonna get that gigantic H shape on Hedora's head. She's a Hank fan. And there will be some remnants of oversprayage going on over here with the copper, but honestly, friends and neighbors, there's not much else for me to do and say with this figure. Well, the tail curves up a bit more than the original. Just a little bit more, but I feel like that might have been a shipping / warping issue, you know? And I guess this is a better way to showcase the silver paint, as on the original, it's a bit darker. It still shines, but the presence felt on the color renewal version really does slap. Same for the opposing side and all other sides that have silver paint on them. It's a very minimal change. Again, I don't think this is a necessary pickup for anybody, but it's cool to have, and maybe, just maybe, all this time, Toho were just sending Takashi Yamazaki signals. Look at all this Hedora stuff we're doing. We want Hedora in a movie. And if their impatient asses can wait, Godzilla Subtracts again will feature Hedora. Mind you, this is all just coming from Comic-Con, him stating what he wanted to do next, possibly for a sequel or even just a completely detached film. I imagine it would be a sequel, but he specifically said remake Godzilla vs. Hedora. That could mean absolutely anything. Sequel to the prior film, completely established Godzilla being in a completely different timeline where he just so happens to fight Hedora. You imagine, after what we saw in -1, what Hedora would look like? Oh, I'm sorry everybody. I didn't mean to turn this into comparison the video, but really in comparison to the other color renewal figures, i.e. Godzilla 91 and Space Godzilla, I do believe Hedora's changes aren't as noticeable as the others. Unlike Hedora, Space Godzilla is so blitheringly obvious that it's like done up from the ground up, save for it being the same mold that they've been using since the friggin' 90s. And as far as 91 Goji goes, yeah, there was a different color used for the base vinyl and different paint used throughout the figure, but his most noticeable change being how the dorsal fine china was painted on the back of his neck and all throughout his tail. Hedora, I feel, is more so take a quick glance and you'll miss it levels of just bare bones fixes. Yes, like Space Godzilla, it's got updated paint and a new color used for the base mold, but I'd still consider Space Godzilla a bit more noticeable. And you know it's not because I dislike Hedora, because how many reviews have I done of friggin' Hedora from the Movie Monster series? Too many, but there's no such thing. Godzilla Collection Hedora and Movie Monster Series Hedora. Movie Monster Series Hedora. Movie Monster Series Hedora. Plushie Hedora. Movie Hedora. Hedora Minis. I'm going to award Special Color Hedora 3 solid stars. Exactly what I was expecting, just with some different paint, and at one point I thought it was a completely different mold, but that's not the case. I've been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all here on Friday for the finale of Godzilla 2014-a-thon with the Godzilla 2014 and Male Muto Movie Monster Series figures, which not only celebrates 10 years of Godzilla, a marathon coming to a close, but it also celebrates 10 years of Movie Monster Series Part 2, essentially. After 7 long years, the Movie Monster Series returned and then disappeared for an entire year. Anyway, ShinRobjira, Patreon, check it out. See you all on Friday. Peace.